I want to thank everybody for sticking it out this late, and to Alan and the organizers to giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. Alan and I first hatched this idea for this topic over tea in London, and we were talking about the challenges facing this business. And you're in a unique position because since your industry is in the beginning stages, you get to define new standards of service. In the United States, where it's a very mature business, there's a lot of imitation and a lot of marketing going on that tries to distinguish one product from the next. But the most important thing that distinguishes one product from the next, and you'll find this as you continue to grow, is not gimmicks, and it's not marketing, and it's not slick brochures. It's people. It's the people that you choose to hire to service your customers. And it's the way that you train them, the way that you hire them, and it's the understanding that they have of the people that you service. How many people here own an airplane? No airplane owners here? How many people have flown as a passenger on a private jet? Okay. Have you flown because you've written the check, or have you flown as the guest of somebody else? A guest of somebody else? Well, here's the secret. They're not like us. The people who have achieved that place in life to pay for private jet ownership and to pay to be a passenger in a private jet, their view of the world is different than most of ours. Their living style, their style of life is different. The people that surround them are different than what we accept and what we expect from the people around us. And that's really the key to succeeding in meeting and exceeding their expectations. It's to understand that their worldview differs from ours. And I started to learn it at an early age. I got into radio in my teens, 10, 15 years ago. That's not that funny. But I started in radio in my teens, and I became a student in a way of watching high-profile people and how they were treated and what they came to expect. And I realized that these are not people who live the same lives that we do. It's just a question of degree. I watched movie stars and musicians and heads of state and mayors and governors, and I realized that they view the world in a very narrow sense. When my wife and I argue and she feels that I'm being selfish, she says, "It's all about you, isn't it?" And the truth is that for the people that we fly, it is all about them. There's in Snow White, there's the Queen every day says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" And the answer, to a point, is always that it's the Queen. That's the expectation. People who look in the mirror in the morning and they see the most important part of the world and there's nobody else behind them. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that we have to accept and understand that in the performance of our service to them. I flew Kingfisher here from Mumbai yesterday. And there was a customer service survey on the airplane, and I loved the question that it asked. It didn't ask, most customer service surveys ask if they did a satisfactory job, if we exceeded your expectations, did they do a poor job, fair job, good job. The question they asked was, did we delight you? And we're in the business of delighting people. We're in the business of anticipating their needs and meeting them and exceeding them. We're in the business not of transportation, we're in the business of providing service. Transportation is what the airlines provide. They're not focused on service the way we have to be. Our customers expect that the hardest part of what we do is something they don't give a second thought to. We fly miles above the earth, near the speed of sound, in a metal tube, in all kinds of weather, all kinds of congestion, and that's the part they take for granted. That's the part they do and should expect that we do well and we do safely. But we're not really judged on that, at least in our experience at Acceler, and I'll tell you a little bit about our company in a second. But what they expect and what they credit us for or blame us for is if the rental car is not there, or if the catering wasn't good, or if we didn't have their favorite nuts on the airplane, or we forgot that they like Splenda instead of sugar, or that their kids are allergic to peanuts. That's how we get judged. We get judged on the details. We get judged on the small points. It's the big stuff that we make look easy and they take for granted. I was talking to somebody who works for Universal, the handling company, and he used to work for a major bank. And he was very proud of a trip at this bank that he handled for the chairman and his wife. They flew around the world, very tight schedule, permits and slots everywhere they went. And he wanted to receive some of the glory when they came home off this G5 from a successful trip. So he met the airplane, the chairman comes off, his wife comes off, and he was expecting a pat on the back for all the good work that they did. And what happened was the chairman just said hello, and the chairman's wife said, "That catering in Istanbul was disgusting. Who ordered that?" That's how she defined the trip. That's how she defined success or failure. All the successes we don't necessarily get credit for. We don't necessarily get credit for permits on short notice or any number of miracles, small miracles that we pull off along the way. They expect that. We get judged and we get return customers if we do a good job on the little things that show the human element of what we do. Hiring and staffing is crucial, as you've heard throughout the day and as I said just a second ago, because it's hard to teach a sensitivity to people who seem to sometimes have unrealistic or unreasonable expectations. And that's why, for the most part, we don't hire airline people. We don't hire airline people for customer service, and we rarely hire airline pilots because there's not a great understanding or embrace of the things that we have to do, the way we have to go above and beyond for the people in the back of the airplane who are signing the checks. And there's some warning signs and some danger signs and some do's and don'ts that I want to share with you before I step off today. I hate PowerPoints, but I did one anyway. So I'm going to try to find the page that we did. There's one other saying I saw in Mumbai when I was there earlier in the week, and that's that common sense is not so common. What you and I might take for granted as something easy to do for a customer or obvious to do for a customer often isn't that way. And unfortunately, you'll find that when you fail. And in the United States at this point, there's so much competition. There's price competition and service competition. And a lot of companies don't have a lot of business these days. We're fortunate that we're staying busy, but it's been a tough time. There's always another company to go to. So you really have to stay on your game.